Have you ever wondered why certain problems, people, or feelings keep showing up in your life, almost like a movie on repeat? At first, it might seem like bad luck or random coincidence, but from a spiritual perspective, nothing is random. Life operates in patterns, and those patterns reflect the lessons your soul came here to learn. Whether it's the same type of relationship ending the same way, the same financial struggle returning, or the same inner conflict resurfacing, these are not accidents. They are messages. Your reality is a mirror, constantly reflecting back the beliefs, emotions, and unresolved wounds you carry. The repetition is your soul's way of getting your attention, like a teacher giving you the same assignment until you finally understand it. Until you see the deeper meaning and make a conscious shift, the cycle will continue. This is why understanding the spiritual mechanics behind repeating patterns is the first step toward true change. From a spiritual perspective, repeating patterns often point to what are called karmic loops, cycles of cause and effect that carry over from past experiences, sometimes even from past lives. These loops aren't punishments, they're opportunities. Each time you face the same situation, you are being given another chance to respond differently, to choose a path that aligns more closely with your higher self. But if your reactions remain the same, driven by fear, ego, or old wounds, the outcome will repeat and the loop will stay unbroken. Psychologists describe a similar process in terms of subconscious programming. Your brain seeks familiarity, even if it's painful, because it equates familiarity with safety. This is why you may unconsciously gravitate toward the same kind of relationships, jobs, or challenges. Spiritually, these tendencies are invitations to heal the root cause, to rewrite the script. Breaking a karmic loop is not just about avoiding the situation, it's about transforming your inner state so the situation no longer has a reason to appear. One of the clearest signs that you are stuck in a repeating pattern is the feeling of déjà vu, not the fleeting kind that lasts a second, but the deep recognition that you've been in this exact emotional place before. You might notice that the faces change, the settings change, but the underlying emotions, betrayal, abandonment, frustration, stay the same. Another sign is the recurring "why me" question that arises when you face yet another familiar disappointment. These are indicators that your soul is bringing the same lesson back into your awareness. There is also the pattern of escalating intensity. If you ignore the lesson, life has a way of turning up the volume, presenting the same challenge in more dramatic or painful forms until it becomes impossible to dismiss. Think of it like a spiritual alarm clock. It starts with a gentle ring, but if you keep hitting snooze, it becomes louder and more urgent. Recognizing these signs is crucial because awareness is the first step toward transformation. Without awareness, the cycle runs on autopilot and nothing changes. If this message resonated with you and you're ready to break free from the cycles that have been holding you back, hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell. There's a lot more wisdom coming your way. The first practical step in breaking free from repeating patterns is observation without judgment. This means becoming a detective in your own life, noticing when certain feelings, reactions, or events seem to echo the past. Keep a journal and write down every time you feel this has happened before. Over time, you'll begin to spot the common threads, similar words people say to you, familiar triggers that set off your emotions, or even recurring dreams that point to unresolved themes. This self-observation is not about blaming yourself, it's about gathering data. From a spiritual standpoint, journaling and reflection open the door to communication with your higher self. As you track your patterns, you may start to see how they connect to deeper soul lessons or karmic themes. For example, someone who repeatedly attracts controlling partners may be facing a soul contract about reclaiming personal power. By identifying the pattern, you bring it out of the shadows and into the light of awareness, where it can finally be transformed. This is how conscious change begins, by making the invisible visible. Once you've identified a repeating pattern, the next step is to consciously choose a different response. Patterns survive because your reactions keep feeding them. If, for example, you tend to withdraw when faced with conflict, the cycle will continue until you respond in a new way, perhaps by calmly expressing your needs or setting a healthy boundary. Every time you choose differently, you send a signal to your subconscious and your energy field that the old script no longer applies. From a psychological perspective, this is called breaking a neural pathway. creating a new route for your brain to follow instead of the habitual one. From a spiritual perspective, it's about shifting your vibration. Energy responds to intention, and when you act from a place of awareness rather than fear or autopilot, you alter the frequency you're broadcasting. Over time, the outer world begins to mirror this new inner state, and the old pattern naturally dissolves because it no longer matches who you are becoming. Energy practices can accelerate the breaking of repeating patterns by addressing them at their root, your vibration. Meditation, breathwork, and grounding exercises help you step out of the reactive mind and into the present moment where change becomes possible. For example, daily mindfulness meditation trains you to notice when an old trigger is activating, giving you the space to choose a new response instead of falling into the familiar loop. Breathwork, especially deep rhythmic breathing, can release stored emotional tension that keeps patterns alive. Another powerful technique is visualization. Imagine yourself handling the recurring situation in a completely new and empowered way. This mental rehearsal programs your subconscious to expect a different outcome. On an energetic level, it also aligns your frequency with the version of you who has already transcended the pattern. Remember, energy flows where attention goes, so focusing on the reality you want rather than the one you're trying to escape is essential. Over time, the energy tied to the old cycle weakens and the new one takes root. Breaking a pattern is only half the journey. The other half is integrating the lesson it was trying to teach you. Without integration, a new pattern may simply replace the old one, repeating the cycle in a different form. Integration means consciously reflecting on what you've learned, how you've grown, and what changes you've made in your thoughts, emotions, and actions. This is where you connect the dots between the experiences you've had and the person you are becoming. Spiritually, integration often involves gratitude, even for the most painful experiences. Gratitude shifts your perspective from seeing life as something happening to you to seeing it as something happening for you. By honoring the role a difficult pattern played in your awakening, you neutralize its emotional charge. This frees up energy that was once trapped in resistance and allows you to move forward lighter, clearer, and more aligned. In many cases, this is the stage where people realize the pattern was never the enemy. It was the teacher in disguise. When you've broken the cycle and integrated the lesson, you begin to notice subtle but profound changes in your life. Relationships feel healthier, opportunities flow more naturally, and your inner state becomes steadier. You no longer react out of old wounds. You respond from a place of clarity and self-awareness. This is the true reward of ending a repeating pattern, not just avoiding pain, but unlocking a higher level of conscious living where you are the deliberate creator of your reality. It's important to remember that patterns may still try to reappear, especially during times of stress or transition. But now, you recognize them instantly. Instead of being pulled into the same emotional loop, you have the awareness and tools to meet the situation from a place of power. This is not the end of your growth. It's the foundation for the next chapter of your soul's journey. And every time you choose awareness over autopilot, you're not just breaking patterns. You're shaping the destiny your soul came here to live. Do you think your patterns are truly yours, or are they echoes of someone else's story you're still carrying?